Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. We've got Lucas on Death and Taxes versus Adam Champ Brennan on Blue Red Delver. He has taken down an SCG championship, leaving a Legacy championship. Will he add an ELD Open to his list of credentials? Mother of Runes is going to make that tough, and it looks like this basic island says the Mother is going to stick around, which is going to make all of Adam's removal much worse. It'll still be able to go to the face, but it won't really be able to remove any of these creatures unless Adam is able to create some type of essentially 2-for-1 situation. Phyrexian Revoker, one of the least impactful cards possible here on turn 2. I think Adam's relieved that it is not a Stoneforge Mystic or a Mother of Runes, or a Thalia, I should say. There's a lot of dangerous cards in Death and Taxes. Revoker in this matchup, one of the least threatening. Probably a card that'll be cut post-board. Grim Lavamancer, perhaps one of the only cards that it's really good at stopping. Young Pyromancer, off of Volcanic Island for Adam. That Volcanic immediately wastelanded. Will this Rishadan port essentially stop Adam from getting a useful next turn? We see Swords to Plowshares and Mother of Runes. Mother is being committed, and that gets Force of Willed, surprisingly, allowing a token to be created off of that Young Pyromancer. These elementals are going to be key toward the path for victory for Adam. Swing fearlessly into that Mother of Runes. She is not likely to block and then tap to protect herself, as the shields would be down for any type of burn. Now Swords to Plowshares, removing the Dreadhorde Arcanist. That Arcanist would have done a lot of work, allowing all of these cantrips to be replayed. 2-mana card that nets you an extra card each turn. Very dangerous in this type of matchup, which is often a war of attrition, as we see here now with Wasteland on that lone white source of Caracas. Now Cavern of Souls, making an uncounterable Stoneforge Mystic, in all likelihood. Stoneforge notably not human. Many of the creatures in Death and Taxes are humans. It is a core Artificer. Brainstorm now. Adam adding to his army. This Stoneforge may prove to be too much. Leave only one card on top of the library so far. There we go. There's the second one. Fetch land acquired. Not likely for Adam to swing with his 1 power creatures here. Stoneforge can block and eat 1 for no cost. Not a price Adam willing to pay at this point. Umezawa's Jite, so dangerous. Phyrexian Revoker coming in, that gets dazed. And now Preordain adding more bodies. These may not be around for very long with this impending Umezawa's Jite. Now it's worth noting that until Lucas finds a white source, he will not be able to cheat it in with Stoneforge, making it susceptible to counter spells. But Adam only 3 cards in hand. Getting the Jite dazed here would be absolutely devastating. Rishadan port just being used to deny Adam a little bit of mana. Lucas just hoping to draw out of this, get a white mana source. whip a creature, start mowing things down with those counters off of the Umezawa's Jite. There's a path to victory clearly ahead for Lucas, but will his deck cooperate? He does not have the luxury of all of these cantrips that Adam is enjoying. Preordain, Ponder, Brainstorm can just make it so consistent. And now Cavern of Souls being taken out by a Wasteland. And 5 creatures turning sideways. Just 3 survive. Revoker trading in for one of those tokens. And it may be at that time. Jite is, oh, it's just going to get dazed. Lightning Bolt. During the end step, taking out Mother of Runes. Now a Lightning Bolt taking out that blocker. And a huge tempo shift. Just an explosion of damage as these elementals get in there, and Lucas scooping it up now. Moving on to game number 2. Well played there by Adam. Young Pyromancer just creating its own army. Bring your own elementals to the party. So much work done. That creature, it just won in a red for the initial investment. And then everything else is things that you want to be doing anyways. Drawing cards, filtering the top of your library, killing your opponent's creatures, potentially going face with some burn. Pretty much everything else, really everything but the additional creatures, is going to yield extra bodies off of that young Pyromancer. So Lucas with his back up against the wall here. Wasteland was extremely good for Adam. Death and Taxes is a monocolored deck, and a lot of people kind of misevaluate when they start playing against it at first just how good all of the non-basics in the deck are. It's kind of thought of as a budget deck because the mana base isn't that expensive, especially with the reprints of Karakas and Wasteland, though the latter has creeped back up in price quite a bit since that printing in EMA. But you have Rishadan Ports, Karakas, and a host of other potential cards that can be slotted into that mana base, as you really only need so much white mana and you want to get as much utility as possible. Cards like Blood Moon and Back to Basics can actually be quite good against it, and as we saw, Wasteland was actually really strong in that matchup. Game 1. Basic Plains this time. Lucas relieved on some level, I'm sure, that he's not going to have to relive that first game. And Tomic, I'm not really sure how you pronounce that. The new Shadows, I'm sorry, War of the Spark, little senior moment there. War of the Spark creature. He is a legendary flying creature, most notably was expected to destroy the whole lands deck in Legacy, which, to be fair, haven't seen that much of lately. Chain Lightning taking out this Thalia for 2 mana. I'm going to pull up his exact text. I do not recall it. We've got a Mother of Runes being added to the board. Doesn't look like he's got too much in terms of relevant text. Lands on the battlefield and land cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponent controls. So that's going to shut off Wasteland from the other side. So Lucas's mana base going to be completely free to do what it needs to do. Aether Vial. Though at this point, plenty of mana, so not too much of a concern. far as making good on whatever threats Lucas draws. The Vial does get around counter magic, which is nice. But in a game state like this, probably would rather have some actual threats. We saw before, Adam can do an awful lot with just a singleton Young Pyromancer. Dreadhorde Arcanist would also be very dangerous. And there is a Pyromancer and a land. 2 more. Towards the Plowshares offered up by Lucas almost hesitantly, like he expects it to be stopped. And now a Braid targeting Tomek, who happens to be legendary. Does drop the shields down for this Wasteland. So the Karakas at least could be handled. And that is exactly what Adam does. The other option was the Rishadan port, but with as much mana as he has, not likely to be the best choice. Another Rishadan port comes down. And Delver not flipping. Lucas opting to cut off the red mana. But a fetch land means Adam does have access to red if he requires it. More damage coming in from Tomek. Ooh, and now a Stoneforge Mystic. Vial had ticked up to 3, so this card was just past the old-fashioned way. And will Lucas be able to get this sword in now? No, he will not. Gonna tap during the upkeep. Look to sneak in the sword using Stoneforge Mystic. Three damage, somewhat hesitantly. Perhaps thinking about Flicker Wisp, and what an unfortunate card that would be. Sword of Fire and Ice. Tomek attempts to get it. Lightning Bolt clears him out of the way. Stoneforge now holding on to that sword. And now she threatens to end this game pretty quick. He's first stabilizing, taking out that Delver of Secrets that had flipped. The 3-2 no longer pressuring Lucas's life total, and Adam without any threat on board. Sword of Fire and Ice. Protection from blue and red. I hear it's quite good versus decks that are literally only blue and red cards. And just jamming a Batterskull here. Hardcast Force, Hardcast Batterskull. Those are the type of things you see sometimes. You look down dark alleys in Legacy. It's not all just early turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 plays. Sometimes it drags out, and whoever gets the most utility data out of their cards is going to be in great shape. Both players there paying the honest price for those cards. Adam ahead on the exchange, however. The Stoneforge leaves Lucas ahead on board. Now a Flicker Wisp. Going to eliminate a lot of the possible lines for Adam. Down to just 1 life. And now Flicker Wisp flickering Recruiter of the Guard. It comes back. And a whole team of Flicker Wisps, likely what Lucas is leaning towards. and vialing in. I'm actually not sure what that last card was. Let me know in the comments. But Adam scooping it up, going to game 3 here. Just overwhelming advantage for Lucas. That Sword of Fire and Ice, a real dangerous one here, as is the Umezawa's Jite. Both of those cards, super dangerous versus this type of deck. Adam's really sporting a bunch of small creatures that can be ruined by the recursion from those cards, just repeated removal, and make it impossible to win. He does not have the large bodies that the Grixis build and some of the other Delver strategies are able to enjoy. Cards like Gurmag Angler, even Leovold, and now Tarmogoyf becoming popular again in the format. We have not seen a True Name Nemesis. That is certainly a card that can laugh off removal from the other side of the table. Not able to be stopped on the offensive, and a very good card defensively unless Lucas can find evasion, which he does seem to have a little bit extra of. Of course, Flicker Wisp usually solid through the air. A lot of lists have cut the Serra Avengers. A 3/3 flying vigilance for only 2, not as popular these days. Cards like Tomic and many of the other legendary creatures sometimes being slotted in. Pretty much every time a white creature gets printed, people ask whether or not it's going to be able to be played in Death and Taxes. I remember people were very excited about Brimaz back in Born of the Gods. I mean, it's really the type of thing that just has to get tested. I mean, most of them are not going to work, but people are going to test it, so you might as well just see how it actually works. That is part of the fun of the game, is trying out new cards. Sometimes they'll surprise you, and we'll see how Tomic actually ends up playing out in that regard. The synergy of being legendary, pretty interesting, running Karakas, being able to protect him as well. Now Phyrexian Revoker coming down. Polluted Delta for Adam, grabbing a Volcanic Island. And Adam looking to keep a completely clear board here. Lightning Bolts the Revoker, and now Brainstorms. Does he have the fetch land to go along with it? You see a Force at the front of his hand. A Wasteland on Karakas. He'll be drawing one of those cards that was hidden on top of the library. Lucas considering whether or not he wants to just make this an absolutely spiteful mess, keeping a Wasteland in hand. Dreadhorde Arcanist comes down now. Force of Will on the Stoneforge Mystic, so Lucas opting to get to the point where he's got extra mana and play around Daze. And in doing so, may have fallen into a little bit of a trap here. This Dreadhorde Arcanist going to be sticking around. He could have Wastelanded, potentially preventing this Dreadhorde Arcanist, but also walking into Daze. Card advantage. Engine will need to be stopped for Lucas here. There's that 3 mana card again. Go ahead and let me know what it is in the comments. It is susceptible to Lightning Bolt, as we just saw. Dreadhorde Arcanist allowing the flashback there. And now Preordain, setting up future turns. Both for Adam's draw step and for double use with the Dreadhorde Arcanist. Thalia can throw a little bit of a snag in Adam's plans. He's going to have to start paying some mana when he flashes back with the Dreadhorde. But that guy's a 1/3. He can just swing right into Thalia. Fairly horrifying. Ponder paying the 1. The card advantage engine just keeps on going in spite of Thalia. And they're good enough to keep, and that cannot be a good sign here for Lucas. These wastelands being used very conservatively. Adam holding back. Thalia taken down by a Braid, it looks like. And nothing to be played off of Dreadhorde Arcanist, perhaps. Lucas just so low on resources, feeling some real pressure. He may just have to run out this Stoneforge, get a Batterskull, and attempt to cast the Batterskull. This is just looking really, really grim. The downside to that plan. And Adam with a Braids to spare. This Dreadhorde Arcanist very unlikely to be able to flash back a Braid, because they're not playing any cutesy cards to increase his power. Delver of Secrets now making a very serious clock. And Adam not interested in Stoneforge resolving, throws a Force at it. Mother of Runes comes down after. And now she gets Vapor snagged. Fully in the driver's seat at this point. We're looking at 4 damage a turn over the next 4 turns, and plenty of cantrips here for the Dreadhorde Arcanist. Even a card like Cataclysm, not likely to be good enough. Adam would be tempted to even let a card like that resolve, to be honest. You see Burn. In Adam's hand. Lucas answering a text message. It's that grim. And there we go. Man, Adam Brennan just grinding it out versus Death and Taxes versus a very capable opponent. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.